We are tiering assets the Suns can get in return for Kevin Durant, but the number one thing that I'm looking forward to is peace of mind once this trade actually happens. Psychos and sickos unite for a Tears Day Thursday edition of PHNX Suns as Kevin Durant Trade Watch continues. We're coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Steven is back home celebrating his mom's birthday, so happy birthday to her. But us, we're still here holding it down amidst the wild waves of a Kevin Durant trade saga. I'm Erik. That's Gerald. We got the freckled Mamba Ayrton behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. But of course, the most important people in the chat live on YouTube after the fact, also on audio. Hell, let's throw our TV viewers in there as well. Everybody converging here at once for what's going to be a fun show. Gerald, are you having so much fun talking about the same potential trade every single day, 24/7? For those on audio, he was slamming the microphone against his head.
Oh, they might have heard it. I hit it pretty hard there. No, I'm sick of this. I'm ready for it to be over. Like I said yesterday, I want some clarity moving forward on, okay, this is what's coming back in a Kevin Durant trade, or conversely, if we're going to have to wait a while for this, we're bringing him back because we couldn't find out a trade. Yeah. And we know the probability of that is very, very low, so we're not going to hang our hat on that possibility, but I would like some resolution here. It's been drawn out. It's been drawn out since the trade deadline. I would just like to know, heading into the draft week, where the Suns are going to be picking. Did they add any picks? Did they add any young players? Did they add established players? What is this team going to look like next year? Because that's the biggest thing in evaluating, can you build around Devin Booker? Can Jordan Ott be a successful coach? It all hinges on this one move that we are waiting on. And I'm just sick of every new morsel, you know, being something that's been regurgitated and not really anything new, honestly.
Well, too bad.
Here's another one.
Here's the thing. We are not there yet, but I am actually excited for how we're going to talk about it today. Asked our diehards, can we attack this in a different way? We thought about it behind the scenes. So tomorrow we've got a couple new different angles that people are not talking about when it comes to the Kevin Durant trade. You definitely want to tune in for that. And today we're not just looking at full trades. We're looking at individual assets that the Suns can acquire and tiering them based off of their value, not in a group context. So the number 10 pick and Jabari Smith Jr. are not going to be looped together. They're going to be separate. So that's going to be a fun way to dive into it and what the Suns should prioritize. But let's get our priorities straight here first. We are continuing Spirit Week here across the entire All-City network. Of course, we are fundraising money for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. I have awesome news and I have a challenge. We'll start with the awesome news, Gerald. Okay. We had a goal of $10,000 to raise throughout this entire week. Want to know how much money we're at right now?
More than that?
We are at more than $10,000 as of right now, Thursday at 3:04 p.m. Arizona time. We are at $11,000 plus 762 in there as well. So let's get to $12,000. And I want to put out a challenge. I'm officially calling out the PHNX Cardinals show.
Oh, snap.
That's right. We're calling out the Cardinals. It's us versus them today only. Let's donate the most money to Big Brothers Big Sisters, not just at PHNX, but out of the whole company. I know that we are going to have a lot of eyes on this show because of the Kevin Durant trade. Do something good. Do not send us super chats. Send us donations. The donation button is right under the chat. And if you're listening on audio and you're on video later, there is also a donate button in the description. Okay. Donate, 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 donate.
Yes, donate.
Donate.
Donate again.
And?
Donate.
Yes.
One more time.
And?
Donate.
Tony says, at Gerald, at Erik, how the heck are you?
Doing great. It's really cool that we've met our goal. And like we said, we want to continue to push through that. We want to beat PHNX Cardinals. So if you have anything, $5, $10 to donate, it really is for a good cause. We love being a part of this type of community building stuff here at PHNX. And we couldn't do all this stuff without you guys. So if you have a couple of spare dollars on this Friday this Friday Eve, go ahead and throw them in the chat.
Yeah, and we completely understand that money is hard to come by nowadays. If you want to make a difference beyond the money, you can sign up to become a big brother or a big sister. It's absolutely free. Make a difference in a kid's life like many of us here over at ALLCITY have done. Go to bbbs.org/ALLCITY to check that out. So if you can't donate money, we totally understand. Maybe consider just giving a little bit of your time. That would make even bigger of a difference. I like Mark in the chat says, I don't really get the Rockets' unwillingness to trade Jabari Smith. They want to pay him in addition to Şengün, Thompson, and eventually Shepard and Whitmore. That tackles something that I tackled on a trending mini pod earlier today. So go ahead and check that out on the latest reports about 3 teams being close to a KD deal, but reportedly holding out due to 1 or 2 assets. Are you ready to rank some of these assets, Gerald?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Gerald, let's go ahead and jump into our tier here and kick it off.
Yeah, so just a little disclaimer here. The tiers that we have here, because there's a lot of different assets that could be coming back, including draft picks. So we've got ideal but off limits. We've got best case scenario. We have useful asset. We have unexciting filler. And then we have less than ideal / gross. So we're going to be going through players. We're going to be going through picks. We're going to be putting them in their corresponding categories, what we think the Suns should be prioritizing, what would be a good asset, bad asset in return.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to get through every single team. We're going to break it down in order as well. So let's start with the Rockets, Gerald. And a name that I don't love.
Okay.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green is like immediately gross category for me.
Jalen Green and Janai Broom are my 2 biggest ops
don't you put Broom in that same category.
Don't do that to our sweet boy Broom.
Don't you put that evil on him, Ricky Bobby.
Is this an easy less than ideal?
Yeah, it is. And it's not I think people are a little too down on Jalen Green. Like, yes, he was bad in his first playoff series. He's also only 23, and it was his first playoff outing. But the fit next to Devin Booker just makes no sense. There's a reason I think Mike Scotto reported that if the Suns are already scoping out third parties to potentially send Green to if they get Green back in a Kevin Durant trade from Houston. So yeah. I don't like that fit at all.
Is there any argument for him to go higher? Like, if you can flip him for something useful, like, could he be a useful asset to flip to a team like a Brooklyn or New Orleans that's kind of looking to ignite their youth?
Potentially, I just don't know what his value is going to be. Like, you're going to have to find a team. I would prefer you loop in a third team as part of a 3-team trade rather than trade for him and then have to go and find a separate deal elsewhere. Yeah. Because I don't know what his value is going to be. He is still a young player. He's a guy that can create his own shot, shoots a lot of threes, but he's never been efficient to this point in his career. The Rockets' number 2 defense was significantly better when he was off the court. So I don't know. I'd probably just leave him in less than ideal, because not only is he a bad fit for your team, but if you trade for him, you then have to go out and figure out another trade.
Yeah.
And I don't know what assets he's going to be able to net you in return.
Yeah. AZ Soldier says, how have we not found a third team for a young hooper? If I'm playing devil's advocate, when you look at the peak of Jalen Green, like the one playoff game that he had that was decent this year.
Yeah.
You see the potential of this highly athletic, supercharged scorer that can, just put it in and catch fire. Right. And defensively, I wouldn't say he's good, but he does get his hand a lot in passing lanes. His stocks and his overall deflections are actually really high for somebody his size. So if I'm a team that doesn't have Devin Booker, I think I could talk myself a little bit more into Jalen Green. But for the Suns specifically, less than ideal feels maybe, on the lighter side of things.
Yeah, I'd like Charlotte, Washington, sure. If you're a team that is trying to build through youth, can afford to take a flyer on a guy like that, absolutely. I do think also if you take Jalen Green out of Ime Udoka's system, I think what he brings to the table might get even more sporadic, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ime Udoka also just getting extended by the Houston Rockets, and reportedly he has been the one behind the scenes pushing hard for Kevin Durant. So
potentially good.
That could be good as far as the leverage play goes there. And could that leverage bring you Jabari Smith Jr.? Is this the top asset from the Rockets, Gerald?
In
top player
asset.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I would put him in best case scenario for me. I think as of right now, he's probably off limits, and I think that might be one of the hangups in the deal. We heard Shams say that the Rockets, the Heat, and who was the other team? The Timberwolves are 1 or 2 pieces away. Feels like Jabari Smith Jr. is probably one of those pieces. But at the end of the day, if you're Houston, you have to give up something to get Kevin Durant. So I would put him in best case scenario as of right now.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's a role player right now, but I think he has the potential to be more. And there is a place for good 3-and-D wings on any NBA team, especially given that he's only like 22 or something like that.
I think best case scenario is certainly on the table. There might be a chance where it drops down to useful asset depending on what we determine is off limits and not. Based off of that, if we're going to put a lot of this top end talent, like, we'll look at Stephon Castle and we'll look at Zubats and all of that in ideal but off limits, then yeah, I think best case scenario, he's one of the better individual player prospects that you could take. Tony in the chat says Erik would probably take Rudy Gobert before I take Green. I would take Gobert over Green.
Yes, I would too.
I wouldn't even think about that, honestly.
So we're let's put Smith in best case for now.
Yeah, let's do best case.
Just because I think if you're doing a deal with the Rockets in terms of the salary that you're bringing back, if you don't have Jabari Smith and his, I think it's in the teens of millions, whatever that is, if you don't have his salary in there, you're probably getting a load of salary filler in return, and that's not great. You want at least one player that's young and you can bank on being decent down the line.
Part of that salary return could be Dillon Brooks.
Yes.
Who we talked about yesterday as somebody who might be a really great small forward fit next to Book, and Steven mentioning that he had an all career shooting season on high volume and efficiency. Is he a useful asset, or does he sneak his way into the end of best case scenario?
I'd probably put him in useful asset. I think he's better. That like when they signed him to that contract, a lot of us, myself included, thought it was a horrendous decision. Yeah. And he proved everybody wrong in year one. Obviously, they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs or whatever, but 39.7% from three on a career high 6.3 attempts, 14 points a game. And we all know what he does defensively as an instigator, a guy who brings an edge, which the Suns have pretty much been lacking since the days of Chris Paul and Jay Crowder. So I would like a guy like that, especially when they continue to talk about, we want to play scrappy. We want to play with an edge. We want to have a defensive identity. Dillon Brooks checks all those boxes. So I'd put him in useful asset.
Yeah, there's an argument, I think, for best case scenario because of all the things that you said. And if he can continue to become more consistent from his shooting and do it in a different system than in Houston where he was needed to put up a lot of shots. If you're next to Devin Booker, I think that's a little bit different. Yeah. And there is an argument of, does this guy have a good season and then regress back to the offensive capabilities he had before? But dog status, you can tell a dog by hating him when he's not on your team and loving him when he's on your team. And that is essentially what Dillon Brooks is. I think useful assets pretty fair. Before we hit a break here, let's go to another young wing from the Rockets, Tari Eason.
I'm probably going to lean best case scenario, not because he's like the best player or anything, but I think if you're doing a deal that's probably going to revolve around you getting Jabari Smith, I don't know that you'll be able to snake Jabari Smith and Tari Eason. Like, he's one of the better team defenders in terms of role players in the league. I like Tari Eason a lot, but I'm curious where you would put him. Probably between those two. I wouldn't go on exciting filler. He would excite me.
He's above Dillon Brooks for me because of the age there as well. I think that with Tari Eason, what you look at with some more value over Jabari is Jabari is going to be asking for an extension soon. He has the pedigree of being a top pick in the draft, and he's going to most likely want one of these crazy big deals, if not a max deal, despite not averaging double-digit points per game. But those type of guys, they just kind of request that. Yeah. With Tari Eason, I think that the gap between him and Jabari Smith is not as large as what their eventual payday is most likely going to be. So I think end of best case scenario, I think he has a lower ceiling than Jabari, but I would say either top of useful asset, above Dillon Brooks, or end of best case scenario. Ayrton, what do you think? Where would you put Tari compared to Jabari?
I think Tari obviously goes under Jabari, but I think in terms of what the Suns can get back, I think Tari definitely would be a best case scenario for us.
I think if you're doing a deal with the Rockets, you have to get one of those two back.
Agreed. And
like if you don't get any of those guys back, you better have gotten all of your picks back.
If you pick one of them, does it have to be Jabari? Because it's almost like you almost have to bet on the pedigree there if you're just going to pick one.
Yeah. I think as of right now, it would be Tari, but I do think Jabari, like
as of right now, it would be Tari?
Maybe, but I think in terms of what Jabari could become and the fact that you need his salary to kind of match salary in a deal, Tari Eason's salary is not as big. I would probably lean Jabari there.
I think I would lean Jabari there, even though the contract does worry you a little bit on what he's going to ask for. If you can get him on a lower contract, then that defensive versatility, he could be a small ball 5 there as well. That's something that Tari can't really do as much. He's a little smaller. I'll take Jabari Smith Jr., but I think it's closer than what most would think.
He's a 6'10" shooting wing, and I know the shooting numbers haven't lined up yet.
I would put air parentheses around shooting.
He's got the good stroke to, like, he's young enough to be better moving forward, and he does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet, especially defensively. Like having a 6'10" wing that can guard multiple positions is big, and I know Tari's a good defender too. But yeah, that's the way I would lean. And to the people in the chat naming other assets that we don't have in the list, I saw Şengün, Aaron Holiday, Cam Whitmore, all these other things. We do have like almost 40 assets, so we had to be a little selective. We couldn't go through every single asset, but we tried to keep the focus on the main ones.
Yeah, there are some quote unquote unrealistic ones that have been there in ties. Those are most likely going to end up in ideal but off limits. We're going to get to some of those, some more Rockets assets. We have, of course, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, the Heat, everybody and all of their picks as well. We did get a $5 anonymous donation. Thank you to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Lexville123 drops a $2 super chat, says Reed Shepherd best case scenario even with no mins. Ooh,
interesting.
We'll discuss that plus more, hopefully get more of your donations all after our first break. Tonight might be the last game for the NBA Finals, and it also might be the last time that you can do an exclusive promo for the Finals from Bet365 that offers customers the chance to win the jackpot of up to $100,000 in bonus bets with the first play fortune. To enter for a chance to win a share of $100,000 jackpot in bonus bets, you must place a 3-leg same-game parlay where the 3 legs are player to score first basket, player to record the first assist, and the first rebound. Only bets consisting of those exact 3 legs will be eligible. Log in, place your bet, sign up, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, and place your bet for a 3-leg same-game parlay for a $1 minimum. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In-app only. Terms and conditions apply. Opt-in required. But of course, the betting does not just stop with the NBA Finals as the baseball season goes on and we get into NFL futures and so much more. Always check out our friends over at Bet365. And always stop at Circle K like I'm going to. As soon as the show is over, I need gas on my way home, and I love not having to think about things. That's why I love that I know where I'm going to get gas every single time, because I am a member of the Inner Circle, and I save money, and I don't pay to do it. That's right. Some places make you pay to save money.
They do.
Not Circle K. You get that 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents off per gallon every day after that. Plus, you can go up to 5 cents off per gallon every day after that. It's easy to download and get enrolled. Download the Circle K app, put in your phone number, put in your password. Not even your password, put in your phone number and your email, and boom, you're already a member of the Inner Circle. And when life is so expensive, saving that 5 cents off per gallon, saving that money on a 79-cent Polar Pop or the $1 medium iced coffee or any flavor energy drink up to 44 ounces, you can get in a $4 meal deal with a breakfast sandwich and a hash brown. You can only get that at Circle K, and you want to save money every way. Join this Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Help us beat PHNX Cardinals. Donate, 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 donate. Please hit that donate button to help out a great cause. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. It's super easy. Any amount of money helps. Even if you're going to send a super chat, send a regular donation and then send a chat, and we'll read your chat on air instead of a super chat. But either way, thank you all so much. So many of you hanging out with us on a Thursday afternoon. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Nobody's covering KD like we're covering KD. Nobody's doing a tier of these assets.
No.
Except for us here at PHNX Suns, Gerald. Let's keep it rolling and talking about what Lex thinks is a best case scenario.
Really?
Guard for the Suns in Reed Shepherd.
So I'm not quite in best case scenario. Unexciting filler seems unfair though. Like I do think in the purposes of the trade, maybe that's what his $10-11 million salary amounts to, but he's a hard one to kind of peg because I don't know what his value is in Houston's eyes or in other teams' eyes. Like this is a guy who is a recent number 3 overall pick who absolutely lit it up in summer league and looked like he was going to be something. And then he goes to a Rockets team that's the number 2 seed in the West and the minutes just aren't there for him. Played pretty well in the G League when he did play in the G League. I think he's a useful asset for me. I think he's kind of a guy that you would be taking a flyer on and being like, well, he's just a recent top 5 pick and he looked good when he actually played against NBA level competition. Let's see what he can do. Because, the minutes this year were not great. He only appeared in 52 games, 12.6 minutes. The shooting numbers, all the production was pretty bad. So you would be hoping for a change of scenery to a Suns team that is not a contender at the top of the West to kind of unlock some things in his game. I'd probably go useful asset for him.
Yeah, I think useful asset is definitely fair. Before we get there, $20 anonymous donation, another $20 anonymous donation, and then a $5 donation from Humble Rumble. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everyone.
There was somebody in the chat who called us morons for saying that we're going to get all of this from Minnesota. Hey, we're not. We're not saying this is the entire package. We're ranking these individually.
Yeah, we're going through individual assets of what could be in the package. We're not saying the Suns are going to get do the math. They couldn't get all these guys from the Rockets.
Can we put some text on the screen for when people like Chris come in the chat so they know that we're not saying that this is the package the Suns are going to get back. We don't spread information like that. Reed Shepard, one thing that's kind of a sticking point for me is also his contract. I think he makes north of $10 million because he's a top 3 pick. And that is something for where this team is at. You could look at it as a positive or a negative. Maybe it's a contract to be flipped later, or maybe he ends up just being a $10 million piece on the bench. I'm really torn on Reed Shepard, and honestly, even at his peak, I don't know if I love his fit starting with Devin Booker.
No.
Right? To me, he kind of feels like a supercharged 6th man, which is unfortunate. But, I think there's enough promise there and enough potential, and shooting is so important that you're like, I would definitely talk myself into it, which, surprise,
right?
If they traded for him.
And I think that's the biggest reason we can't put him in unexciting fillers, because we would be kind of hyping up the fact that he's a recent top 5 pick, the fact that he balled out in summer league, the fact that, maybe he just needs more opportunities. We could be totally wrong in that, but that's absolutely where the conversation would go if he was included in a Kevin Durant trade. So we'll put him. It's probably going to wind up being near the end of useful asset, but
yeah. Suns Digest, who I'm popping on his show later today, says you hire on Reed or Rob. We'll get to Rob Dillingham in a second, but I think that's actually a relatively apt comparison.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get into that. Let's wrap up the Rockets assets with the Suns 27-29 picks and the number 10 pick. 3 picks. Obviously, we're going to loop the Suns picks together, and we'll do the number 10 pick separately. So let's start with the Suns. Gerald, where does this go?
With the Suns picks, I think those are ideal but off limits. And I'll tell you.
You really think so? You think there's no chance?
I think there's a chance that the Suns get one of their 3 picks back. And I think, knowing what I know about the Suns and Matt Ishbia and how aggressive they are going to prioritize this year's number 10 pick, because A, the Rockets don't necessarily need to turn that pick into a player. They've got a lot of young players that need minutes. And B, the Suns don't think their 27 and 29 picks are going to be that valuable. They plan on being back in contention by that point. Whether they're wrong or right about that is irrelevant. I'm just saying that's their thinking. They think those picks will not be valuable, so they would much rather target the number 10 pick than those 2 picks. And if the Suns are getting one of their own picks back, I think they're only getting 1. I don't think they're getting 2 or 3 of their own picks back. So I think those are going to be ideal but off limits, because I think they're going to target number 10, and I think Houston might be more willing to listen to that and keep those picks that could be valuable. If you're a Rockets team looking at maybe 2-3 years from now, Devin Booker wants out.
Sure. I think that if you're the Suns, you'd rather have the number 10 pick. And I think if you're the Rockets, you'd rather give up the number 10 pick. Okay. Can we just take a second? Can we just get a second?
People are not understanding the exercise.
Can we put text on the screen, Ayrton, that explains what we're doing here? Because I don't need y'all coming in here telling me that we're stupid, okay? Because we're not.
When you don't understand the exercise.
And I get it because the headline doesn't clarify it, so I understand. I understand. We are ranking individual assets.
Not complete
We
trade
are
packages.
not saying that these are the packages that the Suns are getting for Kevin Durant. It is not possible in the CBA. We are ranking the number 10 pick separate. We're ranking Jeremy Sohan and Stephon Castle separately. Breathe.
Comprehension is tough.
Breathe.
It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
It's almost Friday. Relax.
Steven Weiss says, where's Flex saying, yo, chill. Yo, chill.
Did you see his videos last night?
Dude,
He had some videos.
Flex,
I love
dude.
Flex. We got to get him on here
Dude,
soon.
him being like falling asleep during his video is just, it's
That's
peak,
classic Flex.
It's peak Flex. And if you also notice, we have ideal but off limits for all of you saying, oh, there's no way this Stephon Castle is in a trade. Shut up.
Right. Wait, we have that tier
Shut up.
for a reason.
I love you all for being here. Thank you. Hit the like button. Donate to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. But my Lord, leave me alone.
Good cause.
Okay. All right. The number 10 pick, best case scenario.
Yes.
Best asset coming back from Houston above Jabari Smith Jr.? I think so.
I'd probably say so. I think so. Just because I like a couple of prospects that are going to be in that range that I think would be good fits in Phoenix.
I like Jabari Smith Jr. for sure.
Yes.
But you can get somebody in the top 10 pick in the draft that has a much higher, I guess, ceiling than what it feels like Jabari has shown.
Sure.
I feel like if you're looking at Jabari's ceiling, it's like the supercharged ultimate role player, which is like a great compliment, right? I think like the most ultimate role player is Draymond Green. I think some people take that as an insult. I don't.
Yeah.
I see, that type of, I guess, absolute ceiling for Jabari. Obviously not a 1-to-1 comparison between those two, but I'll take the number 10 pick. And the best case that Mark says that isn't off limits.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially to this point, and could be in contention as we go along.
All right, let's go to the Spurs here before we hit our second break. Jeremy Sohan loves Phoenix.
Yes, apparently he does.
Can't stop being here.
Mm-hmm. I saw someone post that he was working out at the Suns practice facility. That is not the Suns practice facility.
Not true.
Just for anyone listening. But he is working out in Phoenix, so that's nice. I would probably go useful asset for me, and I would be willing to go higher if not for the offensive concerns. You look at his 3-point shooting, it hasn't been above 33%. I think in a single season to this point in his career, there's been no progress there. The offense needs a lot of work, but defensively, a guy that's switchable, a guy that could potentially play some small ball 5 minutes, even a small ball 4 minutes. I like him, so I would go useful asset, and he's still young.
Is he like evolved version of Oso Ighodaro?
I mean, the skill sets are very different, but
Can't shoot.
Can't shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Leo dropped a $1.99 super chat and said, "Where would you put Wendy in the tier list?"
He's so far above the off limits.
Near this tier, man. He would not even. He would not even be.
Yeah, he's not.
I like Sohan. I think that Sohan would be a useful asset. I don't think he'd be in best case scenario. Clearly, the offensive limitations, which is why I would talk about the Oso thing, where it's like good passer as a forward, can't do anything with the basketball offensively.
Where would we put him in useful?
I think he's the highest. I think
that's fair.
I think, his defensive capabilities for this team is something they desperately need.
Yeah.
The defense, you can argue, is he's one of the best defenders in the league, or else that there's no way he'd be in the league with how his offense is. I can't put him in anything above that, just because of, I think there's a clear ceiling. And then Mark says difference between Sohan and Oso is that he can guard guards. Yeah, I mean, Soho.
Oh, we got to make that happen.
Sohan is better than Oso. It was a joke. Okay, we've got Devin Vassell. I want less than ideal. I'm above Jalen Green.
So I definitely agree he's above Jalen Green. I'm torn between unexciting filler and less than ideal, because I do think like Vassell is a legitimately useful player. Maybe you could flip him elsewhere, but the fit is just, it's bad. Like you're trading for another shooting guard who can't really run the point guard. Devin Booker can run the point guard, so maybe they can make that work as like 2 combo guard type thing. But the contract is like $27 million a season for like 4 years.
It's not bad.
It's not terrible. It's not great. I do think he's a good player, though. I feel like I'm torn on this one. I'll put him at the top of less than ideal.
It almost feels like unexciting filler is like meaner than less than ideal.
I mean,
Because here's the thing.
It kind of
unexciting
does.
filler means like there's nothing there.
But
right?
but
Less than ideal means that you're not a good fit for us. If I'm another team, like I like Devin Vassell's fit.
So we'll get to the unexciting filler. I named it that for two wings that we're going to be talking about here shortly, because like they're guys that like they can come in, they can help you, they could potentially start for you. They don't
really
move,
switched up on Cam Johnson, huh?
Stop it. they don't move the needle for you. I'm going to go unexciting filler for Devin Vassell, and we can put him near the end as we go along if we need to.
Yeah, I think that's fine
because he's too good for me to put less than ideal.
Descending contract, like Mark mentions. I think if I had to choose between Green and Vassell, I'm choosing Green. Not Green. I'm choosing Vassell for so many different reasons.
Right.
But I've said it a million times. I cannot have a return package for the Suns built around a shooting guard.
Sure.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Mark says, Gerald, what's the difference between Vassell and Green to you?
The shot selection with Vassell isn't as bad as Green. The efficiency isn't as bad, and I think honestly Green is more athletic, but I think Vassell can be better defensively than what Green is.
The idea of Vassell defensively, I think, is higher than Green's ceiling,
fair.
but Vassell in practice on defense has not been as good as I think some people kind of expect him with his frame.
Mm-hmm.
People compare him as Mikal Light. It's just not true.
No.
At all.
No.
I do think that the contract, I think his contract is better than Green's by about $10 million. And I think Green's is going up. So
he's a better shooter as well.
I think he's a more consistent shooter. He's not a black hole on offense that's just going to take all the shots. I think he could fit better into an offensive system, playoff ball a little bit more. Mark says Green was actually good under Udoka defensively, and I agree. I think if Vassell was in that system, then he might be better as well. I don't know. They're not too far away from me, honestly, but I think Vassell's above Green. Okay. We have Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes, and the number 2 pick from the Spurs. Did we not put the number 14 pick in here?
No, we didn't. Honestly, we had a lot of
that's fine.
Here.
We've got 3 more assets from the Spurs, and we're gonna get into those, and maybe we'll just talk about where 14 would end up, and we'll do that after our second break. You're always spending money on everything, including energy. And did you know that half of energy costs come from cooling and heating your home? Well, of course you did, because you live in Arizona and it's going to be 120 degrees outside today. And with summer here, you know it's time to get smart about your savings with a smart thermostat that can help you manage your energy bills. When you're on an APS time of use plan, use your smartphone or device to automatically adjust the thermostat to take advantage of lower cost off-peak hours. APS customers may be eligible for smart thermostats for, get this, as low as $0 when you enroll in the APS Cool Rewards program. And if you're not sure how to install that smart thermostat, you can get free install also available at the APS Marketplace. If you already have a smart thermostat at home, great. See if it's eligible to enroll in Cool Rewards. Find instant rebates, discounts, and special offers on smart thermostats, energy-efficient appliances, and more at marketplace.aps.com. You must be an APS customer and pay shipping and taxes. Other restrictions apply. Go to marketplace.aps.com for more information. And right now until July 31st, the over 1 million members of Mountain America Credit Union, which might include you, and through the 100 branches in the West, are getting double rewards purchases on their rewards credit card through July 31st. That is over at Mountain America Credit Union. Watch the points pile up. It's perfect for purchases like gas, groceries, travel, home projects, and diapers. Gerald?
Diapers.
And guess what? You want to get away with your baby eventually. Maybe you need a gift card to buy more diapers. Maybe you want to go to an event. You can redeem all your double points that you rack up from your everyday purchases through now to July 31st on travel rebates, gift cards, event tickets, and so much more. This is a limited time only, so take advantage of it while you can. Details are at macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply, but don't sleep. Go get it now, because every day you waste, you're wasting not getting double points on money that you're already spending. It's a win-win. Speaking of win-win and speaking of money, we are continuing to raise money here for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. If you're new around here, make a good first impression. Donate right under the chat. We are smashed through our $10,000 raised across ALLCITY, and we want to keep on going. Today is all dedicated to them. Please, even if it's just $1, everything goes a long way. And if you can't donate your money, please consider donating your time. bbbs.org/ALLCITY to sign up to be a big today. It can change a kid's life, and so could $5 if you hit that donate button down below. Even Freckled Mamba in the chat saying donate to a great cause. Thank you, Freckled Mamba.
Yeah, we issued a challenge to Cardinals, so we got to make sure we
can y'all
cash in on
not
that.
let us down?
Please donate. It's a good cause, even
Cardinals
if it's $5, $10.
Cardinals is a unit, and it's going to be hard. So please, we appreciate it. Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do it.
Stephon Castle.
Ideal but off limits.
All right.
Very top of ideal but off limits. Like, this is the reigning rookie of the year. This is the guy that was off limits in De'Aaron Fox, and I understand Kevin Durant is in a different echelon of De'Aaron Fox in terms of trade. But the Spurs don't have to make a deal. They still have a lot of good young players. They have Wemby, they have De'Aaron Fox, they have Castle. And Castle especially, he turned a corner about halfway through the season. Dude is a downhill force. He would be a great fit next to Devin Booker in Phoenix, but that just isn't happening. I think if Castle was available, the deal would already be done.
Okay, Harrison Barnes.
Yep. No point wasting more breath on it.
I'm going to pull Steven and be like, that is exactly what I would have said.
Yep.
Okay, Harrison Barnes, definitely ideal but off limits. I mean, this is a star that San Antonio's building around.
NBA champion.
I mean, I'm surprised that we even included him on this list. He's in the Wemby tier.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Usually it's Kevin Durant that replaces Harrison Barnes, which I guess it would be the case here, but
they're
swapping.
Swapping
Unexciting
roles.
filler.
Yes, he is the definition of
Below
unexciting
Vassell.
filler. Yeah, like, because he's a good player. Like, he's a good two-way player. He would fit well if you need to replace Kevin Durant as that 3/4 guy in your lineup. But he's not moving the needle for you. He's just there to kind of eat starting minutes.
Somebody just said, like, what? when I was talking about Harrison Barnes. Nano says, why not the 14th pick? Let's talk about the 14th pick before we get to the 2 pick. End of best case scenario, top of useful asset, I think is where I'd put the 14th pick, right?
I'd probably go best case scenario, because even if you have to give up 29 in the exchange, you're still jumping from 29 to 14, or suddenly you have 2 first-round picks. Maybe you package and move up. Maybe you just draft 2 rookies. So I would go best case scenario.
Yeah, okay. We would put it end of best case scenario. Sorry we didn't include it. Sorry there's only a million other assets here to talk about. My bad.
We're not perfect.
The number 2 pick. Let's slide you in there, right? I think above Stephon Castle.
Oh,
I think above. It wasn't like the rookie of the year that Stephon Castle won was like the most competitive.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are some legitimate things that he needs to work on. I think I like Dylan Harper as a future NBA player, and I love Stephon Castle.
Yeah. No, they're 1A and 1B for me.
Sure.
Like, either way, you're not getting either one. And I think if you were able to get either one, the deal would have been done, like I said about Castle. So
I agree. Let's switch teams to the Miami Heat.
Okay.
Khalil Ware. Best case scenario?
Yes, and I think there's the potential that this is going to be off limits. I think if Ware was I think Ware is the 1 or 2 assets away that Shams was talking about for each of these deals. Like, Ware is probably the hinge that a deal would swing upon.
I can't imagine any other asset on Miami even coming close. No,
if the Heat are going to include Ware, they could get Kevin Durant. If they're not going to get him. I feel like that's kind of where we're at with unless the Suns basically agree they have to trade him and they move him, and the Heat throw in like an extra pick or 2 or something.
Are you like Mark and you think that maybe Ware's being overrated by the fan base? Mark says he showed nothing in games that mattered.
Maybe a little bit, but I do think, like, for a rookie, he showed enough to be intrigued, especially as the fact that we're so thirsty for a center probably plays into the way that we evaluate Ware, because he's young. He had a decent rookie season. Like, yeah, he didn't play when the games mattered, but that Heat team was a play-in team. They were a weird team, and they had to deal with the Jimmy Butler stuff all year. He does have the questionable motor, but I like the potential for Jordan Ott to work with him after spending last year working with Jared Allen, working with Evan Mobley. Those guys are on a different level defensively, obviously, but the tools, the skill set is there. The physical tools are there for Ware to be an impactful defender. And Lord knows Devin Booker needs a damn stretch 5, like, for once in his career. So.
Or a 7-1 stretch 4 along with a dominant rim running 5.
Yeah.
There are people saying, why are you worried about Ware? Draft a center. Get another center. Por qué no dos?
Right.
Like, let's get both.
As many cracks at the apple as you can get.
And I think that's the intriguing part about Khalil Ware. I get it. There have been concerns about his motor. I'm not as concerned about that. His finishing isn't amazing. He's a very streaky shooter. But being 7'1", to be as smooth as he is with his jump shot, the ability to already be playing at the 4 or the 5, and rookies don't, like, a lot of times, like, play a ton for Erik Spoelstra. And so I wasn't too shocked to see him have to kind of earn his keep. I think that the idea of Ware is really intriguing, and I am higher on him than a lot of other people are. And I would love to get Ware and the 20th pick and then get, a center at 20th or at 29 and try to roll in with a 4-5 combo that's 7 foot plus and can shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very enticing. Plus, you also have to look at it. I think the reason why, I guess me specifically, I'm gravitating towards Ware a lot is because if there is a trade with Miami,
right,
like the 20 pick isn't getting me excited, right? Like the Ware part has to be a part of that deal for me to even consider doing a trade with Miami.
Yeah, if Ware's not included, there's no point in doing a deal with the Heat unless they're throwing in a bunch of extra first round picks, which they don't have that many at their disposal to do. So yeah, if I'm looking at a Heat deal, the 21-year-old 7-footer who put up 9-7 and 1 block and potentially could shoot decently from 3, I'll take that. I was high on him in the draft last year with the Suns draft selections. I wasn't heartbroken that they missed out on him, but like the difference between Khalil Ware's motor and DeAndre Ayton's motor is one was a number 1 overall pick and the other was number 15.
Miami doesn't. I talked about this, and I talked to Damon, who's a Miami fan. Miami doesn't draft guys if it's going to be like DeAndre Ayton bad. I don't think Miami would have drafted DeAndre Ayton 1-1 overall because of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. I think best case scenario, above the number 10 pick or below?
I'd probably put it below, but I would put it
what about
right
Jabari?
below.
Okay, so above Jabari, below number 10. I'm good with that.
Okay.
I definitely like the potential of a Kama Malawak at 10.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins. This is like, if on Basketball Reference, I think his nickname should be Unexciting Filler.
He's the top of it for me, but yeah. Good two-way wing, not moving the needle much, can shoot threes, can defend, and would be a good addition for the Suns in that respect. In terms of, centralizing Devin Booker, just focus on offense. I got the defense type of thing. But yeah, he's unexciting filler.
Do you think maybe just because of his defense and he'd be a starting wing next to Book and his point of attack defense has been really good. His offense has been iffy, but he can hit some threes. Is there any chance that he's just a useful asset for a retooling team?
He is a useful asset, but I think the unexciting part is throwing people off. Like unexciting filler means they're solid, but we're not going to be ranting and raving that the Suns added Andrew Wiggins as a centerpiece of a KD trade. You know what I mean? Like he's there. He's good. He's not great.
I think everybody in useful asset. How old is Dylan Brooks compared to Andrew Wiggins? I think that's gonna sway you.
Well,
I don't know if that's gonna sway me, but I'm just saying everybody above there you can kind of look at as this could be maybe a piece for the next couple of years.
So Brooks
is 29.
Brooks is 29.
Andrew Wiggins got to be younger than that, right?
He is 30.
Okay.
So Brooks is like a year younger.
I guess they're similar.
Yeah.
You can say maybe they'd be here for another contract or two.
Mm.
I feel like putting Wiggins below Harrison Barnes is not accurate.
Oh no, I wouldn't put him below.
Oh, okay.
I put him at the top of unexciting filler, maybe at the bottom of useful asset.
I think bottom of useful asset is fine.
All right.
And the more I look at Vassell, it's just tough. I think Vassell in a vacuum is better than unexciting filler. But for this team, if we're going to do like the Jalen Green bump down, then
yeah,
that's
yeah. Again, I think we're looking at the name of that category and knocking guys, and it's just like the meh category. Like they're good, they can help you, but meh. I
mean, Wiggins 18 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists. Can play really really good defense. He shot 37% from deep this past season.
Yeah,
like there's career 35% shooter. Like honestly, like you could do a lot worse at small forward next to Devin Booker. Like you genuinely can. All right, we got a lot to go through here, so let's try to wrap up Miami in the next couple of minutes before we get to our last break. Donate. Duncan Robinson.
End of unexciting filler.
Yeah, unexciting filler. I mean, honestly, maybe less than ideal, except for the fact that you can cut his contract.
He's an expiring contract, so
unexciting filler.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody told me to ban somebody. Who do I need to ban?
I don't
know. Somebody said that we were boring, and I told him that he can leave, and now he just responded in all caps. You right, Erik, but I want to hear the foolishness when you guys try to sell that Minnesota has the best trade offer without Jaden.
We're not doing trade offers. We're doing individual assets today, man. Come on.
How can you be bored if you're not paying attention? All right, Jaime Jaquez. I think unexciting filler. Rough second year for Jaime Jaquez, who's an older rookie or an older young player and was an older rookie.
Yeah, I'd either put him unexciting filler or useful asset because I do think we would talk ourselves into, he had a down year, but change of scenery, he can bounce back.
In a trade, I would rather have Vassell. I would not rather have Harrison Barnes.
Okay, yeah, we can put him there.
Like the positional overlap is not great with Vassell, but I think individually as a player, then I'm not going to ban him, guys. You just said that we're boring. I'm not going to ban him for that.
That's fine.
Okay. The last thing from Miami, the 20th pick, useful asset, I think is where I would land.
Yeah, it's not anything exciting, but you're 9 spots higher than you were.
I would rather have that 20 pick than honestly almost everybody in useful asset.
Really?
I mean, would you rather have a 30-year-old Dylan Brooks or Andrew Wiggins?
I would.
Than the 20 pick?
I would. Because I don't
know.
Because Sohan and Brooks.
It's a weirdly deep draft.
I don't know. It's kind of I hate to use crapshoot.
I get what you're saying.
Crapshoot, but those like Sohan and Brooks have performed in the NBA to the level of like a number 20 pick. They've proven you can do that. The number 20 pick, there's always a potential it doesn't pan out to be anything. That's my reasoning.
It's just tough because they're 30, right? And so, with a 20 pick, if you can get somebody that's on a different timeline, I guess, they're on Book's timeline, but if you're trying to get younger, and then getting that 20 pick, you might be able to find somebody who can replicate some of that value.
Sky Falcon did bring up a good point. Sky Falcon 5 said pick 20 is cost controlled. That's the rookie scale salary is useful for a team like the Suns. So.
I kind of like 20. Can we like settle and maybe
we can do top of useful.
You can do top of useful.
I'm cool. I think the cost controlled part won me over.
I think higher ceiling, lower floor. Than those. Like it's more of an unknown except for maybe Reed Shepherd, that 20th pick. But I think that ability to have a really good cost controlled asset over Sohan, who will want an extension, and Brooks and Wiggins, who will look for another deal in the NBA after their current one. So, okay. We've got the Clippers, we've got the Timberwolves, we got the Nets, we have the Raptors, and we have Frosty Takes today. So strap in for a long one. We'll get right to all of that after our final break. Empire, Empire, Empire today. I said it 3 times because you need to remember the name when it's time for you to get new flooring. And not just flooring for your home, but maybe flooring for your small business, or maybe you own a rental property and you want to up its value. Look, the reality is you don't automatically think about flooring when you walk into a business or a home immediately, but everywhere you go, your eyes eventually wander down. And if somebody looks down and they don't like what they see, well, that's not going to be that great if you're trying to sell your home. It's not going to be that great if you're trying to impress as a business, and that's why getting flooring professional, flooring freaks, who are going to get their same day in-home estimate, next day installation, clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing, and the best flooring around. Empire today has you covered with all of that. Plus, you can get a free in-home estimate and save $350 today. That's right. All you have to do is use promo code PHNX. That's right. $350 off discount with promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireData.com/PHNX for full details. Also want to give a big shout out to All Pro Shade Concepts. It's 120 degrees outside. How about it being 100 degrees and shady in your backyard? Now, for those who don't live in Arizona and are listening to PHNX Suns, hi, appreciate you watching and listening from outside of the state, but that 20 degrees makes quite a hell of a difference, and that's what All Pro's roll-down patio shades do when they block the sun. They keep your patio cooler, and they've got durable fabric in different colors to withstand the AZ sun. You got options: manual, motorized, sealed track, or cable shades in the winter. Drop-down shades can also create an outdoor living area that keeps cold wind out and warm air in. You're extending your outdoor living space. Also, you can trust them. A+ Better Business Bureau ranking, check. #1 by ranking Arizona for patio shades, check. And over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google, check. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Big shout out to All Pro Shade Concepts, and big shout out to everybody in the chat, even Boxing Man, who's still yelling at me. Shout out to Kaylee, Oren, who's a Nets fan, My Holy King, Sandman, The Haunted Kiwi, Major Anthony Nelson, Ted, Dema. We got some good names. I think my favorite is The Haunted Kiwi.
That's a great name.
I want to see a notification that says The Haunted Kiwi donated to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Folks, We're almost at $12,000 across all of ALLCITY. We need less than $100. Let's get to $12,000 on this show. I want to say that PHNX Suns helped ALLCITY get past the $12,000 mark. That is less than $90. Mario Napros 2 says, I thought I was your favorite, Erik. You're all my favorite. You're like my children. I just can't choose. Okay. Sandman says, why are you yelling? Are you new here? I know you're not, Sandman. I know you're not. I know you're not. Oh, maybe they're asking Boxing Man if they're yelling. Says, Erik, I just write in caps. I'm not yelling. Is it like...
Do we got Jay Crowder in the chat?
Yeah.
Jay!
Yo, Boss Man!
Boss Man.
What's up, 99?
Blink if it's
Hit him
you.
with the salsa. Okay. Hit the donate button, please. If not for us, help out a good cause, but also for us as we try to beat PHNX Cardinals. Well, the Suns get fleeced in a trade, though. Let's see if any of these assets might change that. Let's jump over to the Clippers. Norman Powell.
Useful asset. Dude played like an all-star this year. Could always use high-scoring six-man. It's not the best fit because of how many two guards that you have on your roster. That is the one detriment. But solid player. Like 20 points per game scorer.
Yes. Not for this team. I don't like...
Yeah.
He is...
We could put him at the end.
Devin Vassell, Jalen Green, and Norman Powell. It's a three-person Spider-Man meme, and they're all pointing at each
Norman
other.
Powell was like legitimately good.
Yeah, but do you think he's going to play at an all-star level again for the next however many years? Anonymous, $10 donation to BBBSA.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, Norman Powell is a better player than those two these last seasons, but he's older.
He is 32.
I don't think that his trajectory nearly lines up like them. George Young donating $10 to BBBSA. Look, come on, guys.
Thank you.
We have less than $70 to get to 12,000. I like Norman Powell as a player. I don't like Norman Powell as a player on the Phoenix Suns.
So like above Vassell, below Vassell? Where are you looking?
I would put him below Vassell, above Jaime.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Again, if I'm going to go for a shooting guard, give me the lengthier, younger shooting guard.
That's fair. He is 32.
Yeah. This next guy, I think, belongs at the top, but maybe we can get him in best case scenario. Zubats?
He's off limits.
Yeah. Okay. End of off limits, though. Or what did you put him above the picks? The 27-29 Suns picks. Because he's damn good.
I love Zubats.
He is 30, so he lines up with Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Positionally, no overlap into what you need. Borderline all NBA center.
Yeah, man. In terms of what he is now, that's the problem is we're always playing the mystery box game. Like I always lean towards the mystery box as opposed to the 30-year-old center, especially when you're taking a step back. Like if you were contending next year, Zubats would be the very, very top.
I think he's above your own picks.
I could get down with that. I'm okay with that because I love Zubats.
If he was like 32, 33, I'd feel differently. But 29, you could pair him up with Devin Booker for the rest of his career, which I would hope
he's
that
28.
he would do. Oh, he's 28?
Yeah, above the picks.
Yeah, above the picks. Okay, donations flying
Let's
in.
go.
I think the Haunted Kiwi was anonymous. I believe. So thank you. Justin McNutt donated $20. Thank you so much. And then Tony donated $20 as well.
Thank you, guys.
We are less than $30 away. We are $23 away.
So
Who's going to help us get to 12,000? So close. $23 away to 12,000. Thank you so much, Tony, and everybody who's donating. Anybody who even donates $1 or signs up to donate their time. Would really, really appreciate y'all helping us out. Okay, airplane mode. Derek Jones Jr.
Probably useful asset.
I think end of useful asset.
I like him.
I do too.
Two-way player, has improved. Good point of attack defender, which is something this team desperately needs. Can guard multiple positions and improved as a three-point shooter. So, yeah.
I agree. I think that he's an awesome fit next to Booker.
Yeah.
Leo with another donation. Leo donating $25.
Thank you, Leo.
And we have hit $12,000.
Yes.
Let's
go.
Let's go for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. Leo helps push us over the $12,000 point. That is awesome, awesome stuff. Please consider to continue to donate, everybody. Mm-hmm. We don't want to stop here. $12,000 is a great number. We have the rest of today. We're trying to beat Cardinals. And, of course, we also have tomorrow as well. Thank you, Leo, and every other person
we love you
who
guys.
has donated today. And anybody who donates their time in the future. Leo saying it's for a good cause.
Thank you, Leo.
$12,002. That is honestly incredible.
Yes,
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bogdanovich.
Not incredible.
Unexciting filler because, again, another two guard. I'm putting him below Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, honestly, I'd put him below Duncan Robinson.
Oof.
Salary.
Yeah.
I don't.
What does he have left on his
I
contract?
don't like Bogey. I think it's at least 2 years. I thought
It might be. Let me take a look just to make sure.
I mean, that might determine it because
he's older too.
You can cut Duncan Robinson for half of his money.
Well, so this upcoming year guaranteed for $16 million. The following year, it's a $16 million team option.
Team option.
So pretty expendable after
16,
a year.
So
he's basically the same as an expiring.
Okay,
you know what?
Yeah, put him above. You said above Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, or below Harrison.
Below.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Bogdanovich. I don't like Bogdanovich.
I just don't like the cut of his jib.
No, I really don't. People say I look like him and Vic Krejci though. So
that's tough.
I think I have a type.
I mean, Bogdanovich is a good looking dude.
Yeah. Nobody ever says, Eric, you look like Steven Adams. No, they only say, Eric, you look like Bogdanovich.
You don't look like Jason Momoa.
Come on, guys. I mean, I think the resemblance is uncanny.
Number 30 pick.
Useful asset. End of useful asset. You can get something decent with 30. I mean, we talk ourselves into 29.
I'm kind of unexciting filler on 30.
Below Vassell? Would you rather have Vassell or the 30th pick?
I'd probably rather have the 30th pick. I'd put him at the top.
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
Just because you already have 29. Cool. Now you have the pick right after.
I would love 2 shots. I would love 2 shots.
You would love 2 shots, but also
I guess it's just the optimist in me.
Yeah, you can't package them and move up. And what are the odds of the Suns actually taking 2 first-round rookies and then one of them panning out? I don't know.
Michael saying Green's a little lonely in the less than ideal category.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate for him, isn't it?
Should we give him some company?
Jaden Byrne says 30th pick over Vassell ?
It's tough because Vassell is obviously a better player. It's the contract that you got to weigh in. It's the fit that you got to weigh in. I don't know.
We could put it above Vassell. That's fine. Again, Vassell's overlap I don't love. Let's go to the Minnesota Timberwolves here as we get close to our hour mark. Thank you all for joining us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that donate button. Also hit that like button because you're donating your likes to us. And thank you for doing that. Also, if you're listening on audio, you can donate. There's a link in the description, and 5-star reviews go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Julius Randle.
Less than ideal. Is that too mean? Because he had a legitimately good season in Minnesota.
Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The big part of why Jalen Green's in less than ideal for me is positional overlap. There is not the positional overlap with Julius Randle, who played like the best player on a team that made it to the conference finals. He played better than Anthony Edwards in the playoffs.
I don't know if I go that far.
I would.
But he was very good. They asked him to be a point forward for them and facilitate. He did that. He gave Draymond Green trouble. He can get downhill, which would obviously be an asset to a Suns team that was dead last in frequency of shots around the rim last year. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I can't get over the feeling that you're trading Kevin Durant for a package centered around a guy who will either be here for 1 year or you are overpaying to keep him beyond this 1 year. That's my hang up.
I get it. I think I'd maybe put him...
I'd go unexciting filler.
I would not do unexciting filler. If you're telling me if I'd rather have Brooks, Sohan, Reed, Wiggins, Jones Jr., or Randall, I'm taking Randall over all of them. I'll keep the 20 pick above, and I think even then, I mean Randall. Yeah, I think Randall would be a good fit here.
I get what you're saying, but mark my words: if the Suns trade Kevin Durant for a package centered around Julius Randle, that's going to be kind of the last misfire that we point to as the reason why Devin Booker asks out from the Suns. You cannot build a championship contender around Devin Booker and Julius Randle.
But I wouldn't keep him for the long term. I don't think. I think I try to flip him at some point.
Yeah, you'd probably have to flip him in February.
That's why I think it's middle, because it's I think he's probably the best individual player we've talked about here, maybe besides Zubats.
And this would, for those in the chat, this would be contingent on him opting into his player option for $31 million, at which point he would be a free agent next summer.
I would maybe even I don't, depending on what he demands, because I don't know who's going to get max contracts in the current CBA.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a chance I'd be willing to extend Randall if he plays well. Just I wouldn't be extending him on a 5-year max contract.
Yeah, I would do
if that
like
makes sense.
20, maybe 25 million.
Yeah, and I think I think that you could do that.
Okay. We can do useful. I'll put him above number 20 pick.
Okay, top of useful asset I think is fair. He's an all-star caliber player right now. I get your concerns. I agree.
Yeah.
Not a concern though for all of you that are joining us here on YouTube because you can still hang out. But if you are watching on TV, I want to remind you that the party does continue over at gophnx.com. So go ahead and head over there. It is time for overtime. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate you. Hit that like button. I'm sure that our fan base is very excited for us to talk about the next player.
Gobert Glaze
out here. Mr. Gobert Glaze for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gobert is above Julius Randle.
Oh, absolutely. He's best case scenario.
Best case scenario. Where in best case scenario? I think he's better than.
I wouldn't put him above
Tari.
number 10. I wouldn't.
I think.
Well, it depends on what you want, honestly. Because if you want to compete next year, Rudy Gobert is probably the top of best case scenario. But I would still value number 10 more highly. I'd probably put him between 10 and where.
Sure.
He can change your defense.
I mean,
he is
it's
older.
tough.
He is
It's
older.
tough. He's higher and he's higher up in age, and there's so many limitations, and you're not going to build around him long term. He's not. I think he's on a different timeline than even Devin Booker as well. Plus, you don't know how gracefully he's going to age.
He's 32 and he turns 33 in a week.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Mark
Maybe
says Gobert single-handedly makes you an average defense at worst. I think this is it's the biggest short-term fix the Suns can probably get.
It is.
I would say I think I'll put Ware above him.
Okay.
I think I'm really debating between him and Jabari Smith. I think Jabari, you don't know if he'll ever reach the height of Gobert. Honestly, it's unlikely. Gobert is a multiple-time defensive player of the year. If you don't like hearing it, I'm sorry. It's the truth. I'll put him above Jabari.
I think that's fair. Like there's going to be drop off at some point, right? He's turning 33 in a week. And they were closing games with Naz Reid last year on occasion.
Okay,
too,
let's put him below. He does get played off of the court in the playoffs. Let's put him below Jabari Smith Jr. I think above Tari Eason is fair.
Yeah, we got to weigh the short-term benefits versus the long-term too. Because if you are basing your package around Rudy Gobert, it's with the Timberwolves, and the best you're doing is like number 17 is their pick.
Yeah. Well, there was a question earlier said, would you rather have Rob Dillingham or Reed Shepherd? Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Rob Dillingham or Reed Shepherd?
I have no idea. Because we didn't see enough of either one of them. I think I'd probably say Reed Shepherd at this point.
I think the contract might be the tiebreaker here. Because we're talking about a 2-pick versus the 8th pick. How much is
Rob Dillingham?
I think the 2-pick versus the 8-pick is a pretty significant difference.
It's significant. Dillingham is 6.6 million next year.
And Reed's at least
he's
double-digit millions. Yeah. I think I would put Dillingham slightly above Reed Shepherd simply for the contract tiebreaker. But I agree, we don't really know.
Yeah, for player, I would take Reed. For bringing in contract, I guess I would do Dillingham.
I guess I don't know if I'd be confident enough in saying that Reed Shepherd will for sure be a better player than Rob Dillingham to say the contract doesn't matter as much. But I agree. Individually, I like Shepherd better as a prospect. I don't love Rob Dillingham just in general.
Yeah.
But I don't love Reed Shepherd in general. So
yeah. All right, that's fair. I'll put Rob above Reed.
Dante DiVincenzo.
Unexciting filler. I think it's unfair because he's a solid
if you
player.
If you were a playoff team as well, you'd be excited about getting Dante DiVincenzo.
Yes. But if you are a team that already has Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Grayson Allen at that spot, I'm not as excited about it.
I think that he's valuable. I think if you're trying to retool, he's definitely good, and I think he is definitely a candidate to be flipped if the Suns aren't competing this year.
Yeah, I could put him at the end of useful asset.
Yeah, I think end of useful asset. I think in the same category of like a Derek Jones Jr. And I agree, Mark. I do think he's better than Grayson Allen.
Yeah,
but I don't want both of those in the same
you
team.
still have the issue of trading one of them if you add that guy.
Yeah, I think his contract is good.
Yeah,
for the value that he brings.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
No. Number 17 pick. I mean, it has to be by definition above number 20.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Julius Randle or number 17?
I think I'd probably have the 17 pick. I think top of useful asset, end of best case scenario.
Okay, so we're valuing Julius Randle somewhere between 17 and 20 as a pick.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, 3 spots in that position, that's a borderline lottery pick.
Yeah.
Right? And 3 spots. You know those screenshots where it's like, damn, they could have gotten Jalen Williams, and it's like, There are 2 picks afterwards, right?
Mhm.
That's what that could be for you. Okay, let's move on to the Brooklyn Nets, Cam Johnson.
Yeah, and this would be as part of a 3-team deal
Of
because we
course,
have
a
heard the
3-team deal.
rumors that the Nets, and they make sense as a 3-team partner, a third party to help facilitate. Cam Johnson would probably be best case scenario around Tyrese and Rudy Gobert range for me, maybe higher. Where are you looking at Cam? Because he is coming off a career year. He's an established player.
Kind of in the middle age-wise, though,
He
because
is
like
older.
Gobert is obviously older. All these other guys we're talking about are younger.
Mhm. He's 29.
End of best case scenario, I think.
End of best. Okay, behind Tari.
Yeah, because Tari has the trajectory in the defense there.
Okay.
I really like Cam though. I don't think the gap there is that big.
Put up almost 19 points, 4 rebounds, 39% from 3 on a career high 7.2 attempts. You do need 2-way wings, but
Is he a 2-way wing?
I think he's
He's a
solid.
smart. I think he's a smart defender.
He's decent enough defensively to. I guess 2-way wing isn't a fair way to put it, but he's passable enough on defense.
Would you put him above Tari? I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it.
How old is Tari? He's pretty
Tari
young.
is. I don't know if he's as young as Jabari. I think he might be like 26. I think he might be a little older.
a little bit older. He's 24. So
24.
yeah, I'll put Tari above him for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Cam Johnson as a player. I think he's a good fit on this team. I think he belongs in best case scenario. He is on the same timeline as Book, but the defense I do believe is a little overrated. But I think it's overrated because he's really smart. I just don't think he has the athletic tools to be this lockdown defender like a Tari or a Jabari, personally.
That's fair.
Next guy does, though.
Nick Claxton. This should be, if you're looping in the Nets, you should be trying to walk away with Nick Claxton.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to put him above number 10, but I'm putting him no lower than right behind number 10.
Yeah, we could put him above where.
He is the most ideal center that you need, both because he's young, because he can help you win now. He would be a great fit for Jordan Ott, and he might actually be attainable if the Nets are looking to facilitate as a third party. So because he's expendable. I don't think he's off limits for them by any means. So
not with the position they're in.
In a trade, I don't think you can realistically do better than both for the short term and the long term. Rudy Gobert is the best center, but short term and long term, I don't think you can do better than Claxton.
Clax is what, 25?
Yeah, I think he's 24, 25.
Yeah, he might be above 10.
Might be above 10?
Yeah. He's 26 years old, 6'11".
Okay.
Multifaceted defender, second best defender on this list.
Yeah.
Is an underrated passer, can be a good finisher. He would be then your center that you're pairing up with Devin Booker for the rest of Devin Booker's career. It's way less of a question mark than Kalel.
The Haunted Kiwi brought up that Claxton has not been good the last 2 years. Neither of the Nets. I think Claxton is the type of guy that needs talent around him to be able to shine in what he does because he is limited offensively. So I think he would need a better ball handler than, I don't know, Cam Thomas or whoever the hell they've been running pick and rolls with.
Cam Thomas does not pass the ball.
Yeah. So I think
Cam Thomas just took 5 more shots in the time that I paused between saying those words.
A change of scenery would do Nick Claxton some good, I think. Mark said he's a good buy low guy. I would agree with that.
I honestly, I think I'll put him above 10. Because at 10, it's like, when I look at 10, I'm like, ideally, I'm getting Malawak, who is bigger and maybe has higher defensive ceiling than Claxton, but we have no clue if he ever comes close to that.
Right.
I think Claxton is really great. All right, we got a lot of Nets picks. I think these are going to be pretty easy. The number 8 pick.
Ideal, but off limits. I think if you're doing a 3-team deal with the Nets, you're not walking away with Claxton or Cam Johnson and the pick that
So
high.
we value Nick Claxton as the number 9 pick in this year's draft. Because he's sandwiched between 8 and 10.
No, I think the thing is, I think that 8 is off limits because the Nets would like to use that pick and it wouldn't make sense for the framework of a deal. I would still value Claxton above 8, but I think Claxton would actually be available.
Okay, 19 pick. I think useful asset right behind Randall. Makes sense.
No,
and then
fair.
26 and 27, I think I put at the end of
I'd put
end of useful asset or beginning of unexciting filler.
I'd put beginning of unexciting filler.
That's fine. Cool.
Jalen Green's real lonely. Let's
I
give him
don't
some
care.
company.
You want RJ Barrett in less than ideal? You really hate RJ.
I don't hate RJ
You
Barrett.
hate RJ.
I hate
it's
the
okay.
fit. I hate
Let
the fit.
hate flow through you.
Stop it.
Do it.
Emperor. I hate the fit. This is a guy that averaged 25 and 5.
Yeah, dude, he's a bucket when he wants to be.
But the tunnel vision is bad. I I don't know. What's his contract look like? Because it's not.
It's not a max, but actually, is it a max?
I don't think it's a max.
No, he signed an extension that wasn't a max.
He's base salary 27.7 next year, 29.6 the following year, and then he's unrestricted. So it's only 2 years. He's just not he's not good enough off ball, and he's not good enough on ball to take the ball out of Devin Booker's hands. That's why I don't like the fit. He's not a great spot up shooter.
Yeah, I think that if you're talking about just individually ranking these assets to any team, I think RJ is probably in useful assets. For the Suns, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit higher on RJ's fit. I think unexciting filler. Honestly, I look at RJ a little bit higher than Norman Powell. I think if you told me if I'd rather have Norman Powell or RJ, I'd take RJ.
Okay.
For age and whatever reasons. Also, I kind of like Jalen Green being alone down there.
It's so rude. Yeah, but yeah, I'll put him. That's fine.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
Put him there.
Like,
no, I get it.
If it's the Suns traded Norman Powell for RJ Barrett, I think you'd say, okay, the Suns walked away winners in that scenario.
Yeah.
Due to age and, like, again, if you're taking a package from Toronto, you're not trying to compete right now. That is also somebody that you could flip.
He is also 25. I don't think he's good enough on the ball to be taking the ball out of Book's hands, and I don't think he's good enough of a shooter or a spot up shooter to be playing off the ball either. But yeah, that's fine. He is still only 25. The contract's only for 2 years. It's not for like backbreaking money, so that's cool. Jakob Poeltl, I'm going somewhere in best case scenario. I think he's underrated as a center.
I agree.
I think he's not as good as he was a couple of years ago when I was really all aboard the Poeltl Express, but I think he's still decent enough. I think he's been wasting away on bad Toronto teams.
You still play Poeltl, the game?
I do not.
There's a time that was like every day.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I'd probably put him.
He's a little older, a little slower, but
positional fit.
Positional fit's great. I think I would maybe rather have Cam Johnson and Tari Eason and Rudy Gobert.
That's fair. I'd put him at the end of
best case scenario. I think you're getting a certified starting center. I love Burns and Gambo. I love Gambo. I respect them a lot. Gambo saying that he's a bench center is not true. I just don't think it's true.
No, he's like a top 20 center, which is not great, but
he's on the decline. I will say this. He's on the decline, right? So he might be one of the lower end starting centers in the next couple of years.
Even if he is the 20th best center in the league, that is about 20 spots better than what you had last year.
I know. I agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Lexville123, one of our diehards with a $2 super chat, says Quickly's contract is a negative. Then is the next player we're talking about, Emmanuel Quickly. I've seen a lot of really split opinions.
This is another one where it's like the player. I actually like the player. I think he's underrated defensively, even though he's a little bit undersized. I think he's been good for 17 points, 5 assists a night the last 2 or 3 years. But he is owed $32.5 million next year, the following year, and the year after that. So you're on the hook through 2029.
It's a flat contract, though, right?
It is flat. It's perfectly flat.
So it technically becomes a little cheaper because you assume the cap goes up.
That is true. It will account for less of the cap. $32.5 million for Emmanuel Quickly is a lot.
He shoots good. He shoots a lot of threes and shoots them well.
I do like the fit.
It's a good fit.
I like
He's
the fit better.
He's a scrappy defender.
Yeah, I like the fit better next to Book than RJ for sure.
I think I'm more excited about Quickly than Rob Dillingham. I'm more excited about Quickly than Reed Shepherd. And this is price tag included. I like the fact that it's a flat contract that really excites me.
Maybe after Dillon Brooks, before Dillon Brooks,
Sohan or Quickly. I think I take Quickly.
Okay.
But maybe 20th or 19th pick because of the contract for them, then that's probably the breaking point there for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that he can. I think he plays alongside Book well. I don't know if I love the defense, but I know he tries on defense.
Okay.
Good
with that.
The last one, number 9 pick.
Right between
right in front of 10.
Yeah, right in front of 10, right
Makes
after.
Sense. Number 9 right next to number 10.
Yeah, that logistically makes sense.
I like this. I like this a lot. Okay, so let's just go over here really quickly. Teddy says, y'all bully Jalen Green, man. LMAO. Yeah.
A little bit.
Listen, I don't care. Okay. Let's start at the bottom. Speaking of Jalen Green, he is the only member
of less than ideal.
less than ideal, which is awesome.
We had originally named it gross, but we decided to be nice, so it's less than ideal.
Yes. Then in ascending order, so as in starting with the less valuable, getting more valuable, in the unexciting filler range, we have Duncan Robinson, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Harrison Barnes, Jaime Jaquez, Norman Powell, RJ Barrett, Devin Vassell, the 30th, 27th, and 26th pick. Then in useful assets, it starts at the bottom with Dante DiVincenzo up to Derek Jones Jr., Andrew Wiggins, Reed Shepard, Rob Dillingham, Dylan Brooks, Jeremy Sohan, Emmanuel Quickley, the 20th pick, the 19th pick, Julius Randle, and the 17th pick. Then in best case scenario, starts at the bottom with Jakob Poeltl, then goes to Cam Johnson, Tari Eason, Rudy Gobert, Jabari Smith Jr., Khalil Ware, the 10 pick, the 9 pick, and Nick Claxton. Then ideal but off limits, the number 8 pick, the 2 future Suns picks from the Rockets, 27 and 29, Zubats, Castle, and the number 2 pick. Lance says we missed the 14th pick. Yes, we did.
We did.
It would be at the bottom of best case scenario. Actually, I would put 14 above Tari.
Above Tari?
I'd put 14 above Tari. It's a lottery pick.
I'd probably, but
It's a lottery pick.
But all of those guys are lottery players or lottery caliber players that have proven it. I would probably put it maybe before Jakob Poeltl or after Jakob Poeltl.
Okay. Somewhere in best case scenario.
Yeah, near the tail end. Somewhere.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Are we dead wrong? Are we dead on? Are we stupid? Whatever you think. You can sound off in the comments.
Don't ask
below.
them that.
I don't care. They
Don't
can
give
call
them-
me
don't
stupid.
tee
As
'em
long
up.
as they donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, you
That
can
is
call
true.
me whatever you want. Okay. We've hit 12,000. Haven't had a donation since. So be the first person to donate in all of ALLCITY since once we hit 12,000. Let's end things here with a fun segment here that we have called Frosty Takes, of course, presented by our friends over at Wendy's. We're breaking down our not so hot takes from previous shows. And let me tell you this. We've got some fun ones today. Now, as we wait for our lovely producer, the Freckled Mamba, Ayrton, guys, I know we forgot the 14th pick. We put it in best case scenario. Okay, we're moving on. So we're waiting for our Frosties from Ayrton, who has grabbed the Strawberry Swirl Girl, a strawberry swirl, and the Brownie Batter Baddie. That's what you are, the Brownie Batter Baddie.
I thought it was a boy.
Both.
Brownie Batter Boy.
We have gotten our Frosties, and I have turned the tables on all of you. We're supposed to talk about what we got wrong. Screw you. We're talking about what you got wrong. Okay?
In your
let's
face.
let's go to a couple of comments that we had on our Nick Richards breaking pod. Now, hand up. I was also really excited about Nick Richards, but there's some egregious comments. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This one, I cut out names, by the way. You're welcome.
That's fair.
And I know that some of you are here, by the way, and I've cut out some names. It says Nick Richards will at least be as good as Ayton without all the bad stuff. Oh yeah.
Well,
did that work out for you?
it did not. It did not. It's a good thing we
Where's
owned it.
Humble Rumble? I know Humble Rumble. Humble Rumble was
He would take
salivating
issue
at
with
hearing
that.
that.
He would take
By
issue
the way,
with that
can
comment.
you give me a little bite of your Frosty and tell me what it tastes like?
Brownie Batter Boy.
I'm not telling y'all who said it. I'm not going to put him on blast.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, dude, that looks, I mean,
That is very good.
I love my strawberry swirl,
Mhm.
but that does look pretty delicious. You know what, Gerald? You deserve that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at another comment. This one says the Mavs were the 10th seed when they got Daniel Gafford.
Oh no. Oh no.
This one's not as egregious as the first one. The first one is the worst, obviously. But comparing the Suns to the Mavs, who the Suns were in 10th place, I believe, when they traded for Nick Richards to what the Mavs were with Daniel Gafford.
Slightly different.
Yeah, just a little bit different. Just a little bit. But you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of a team like the Phoenix Suns. Even their own members of the team might get it wrong. Because Bradley Beal, you're up next for our Frosty Takes presented by Wendy's. This is a quote to Dwayne Rankin. And if you remember, this was pretty late in the season. We still can make a run. The playoffs. Anything can happen, man. But we're a talented team and believe in what we can do.
Anything can happen. It did not happen. Something bad happened. And it was the rest of that season.
You know,
That's
Gerald,
tough.
I lied.
What'd you lie about?
When I said that I was not calling out somebody on the show.
Oh, you're gonna call me out, are you?
Gerald, you were gone
Your
for
fellow
the
brownie
first
batter boy.
for the for the first couple of Frosty Takes.
Mhm.
And you know I love you, Gerald.
Mhm.
But we say a lot of things into microphones.
I already know what it is.
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you this.
Oh.
To your and Steven's credit,
Mhm.
you're not wrong a lot.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard for me to find these things. We have a thumbnail here
Mhm.
from a video that we had posted a little bit ago
Mhm.
about Bradley Beal coming off the bench would make zero sense for the Suns. The thumbnail says starter with an arrow. Now, lucky for you, Gerald, I decided I'm not going to pull a video. We're just going to show the thumbnail.
That's fair.
Psych. Here's the video.
Aside from the fact that it's just not happening because he's going to make $50 million this year and they brought him in to be part of their big three and not be a sixth man, you don't put your third best player on the bench. The whole idea of getting a big three is to play them together. The numbers bear out the fact that the big three was better together. And it just doesn't make sense to try and convince a guy like that to take a bench role. It doesn't make you better because when you look at it, Bradley Beal is still decisively a better player than Grayson Allen. You're not getting any taller by putting Grayson in the starting lineup over Bradley Beal. And if you put Royce O'Neal in there over both Bradley Beal and Grayson Allen, guess how are you going to get both of those guys minutes? I'm doubling down on this.
Honestly,
Because it's not like bringing him off the bench worked. And you kept Tyus Jones. I'm going to continue to say it. They benched the wrong guard. Should have benched Tyus Jones. They did not. They benched Bradley Beal. It didn't work. Now he's angry. Now you can't trade him. I'm still not wrong. I was wrong about him not coming off the bench, though.
You're
did
wrong
come
about
off
it
the bench.
not happening.
I was wrong about that. Yes, I was absolutely wrong about it. But it shouldn't have happened still.
You did eat crow.
I did.
You did raise your hand when it happened.
I
but
did.
I had to officially welcome you back. And of course, this is all in the name of these brand new Frosties. Give me a Frosty rating for you.
Oh, it's the frostiest of Frosties. It's a 10 out of 10. Frosty rating.
Ooh, a 10 out of 10. I like the strawberry swirl.
Mhm.
And I am a strawberry swirl girl, but
Mhm.
that one might be the best. That one looks damn good. Okay. Frosty Takes. Wendy's is putting a twist on a classic with all new Frosty flavors. Find your new fave flavor and clock in for sweet treat time anytime, including midnight or later. A refresh on a classic, it's gonna be Wendy's. At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up here, Gerald?
No, I'm glad you all enjoyed the
Frosty
enjoyed
Take.
yelling at us over the Frosty. Well, not the Frosty Takes, but the tearing. There was a lot of yelling going on.
I like getting yelled at for things that we're not doing. That's my favorite.
We got to have like a running disclaimer at the bottom throughout Tears Day next time.
Warning. This tier does not actually entail the packages the Phoenix Suns will receive in exchange for Kevin Durant.
Got to read the fine print.
Please refrain from commenting stupid-ass things before saying...
That's asking a lot.
Anyway, hit that donate button at the buzzer if you can get it on the show. That's amazing. We have now hit the over $12,000 mark for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. And you know what? As much as I don't want the Cardinals to beat us, I do want everybody to continue to donate. Let's try to reach $15,000 by the end of tomorrow. Catch me on Suns Digest show later today. You can find that on live stream as well. But of course, you can find us as the Kevin Durant news continues to roll on at PHNX_Suns on Twitter, on Instagram, and of course, right here on PHNX Sports. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you're listening on audio, 5-star reviews, you already know what to do. Thank you all for being here in the chat with us and hanging out with us on a Thursday afternoon. Expect to see all of you tomorrow on Friday. You could follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. You can follow the Freckled Mamba at Freckled Mamba behind the chats, behind the Mac. Had to get it right. Sorry, Ayrton. As I'm stumbling out, let's see if I don't fall flat on my face. We will see you on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.